What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Monday night. We are finally back on a Monday night schedule. This is episode 174 of Staggered Stance. Check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms and live on YouTube, usually on Monday nights. But here we are, presented by Disc Golf 978. I want to give them an awesome shout out. Use the promo code WeLove978. That'll get you 5% at checkout from what you purchase on their online store. And what you see on the online store is what you're ordering. That is what you are going to get. And one of the best things about it, they have the lowest prices in the disc golf market that disc manufacturers allow. So just another incredible reason to go shop over at Disc Golf 978. One more time, we love 978. That'll get you 5% off. They have tons of awesome things. Keep a look at the lower third banner throughout the show. You will see some awesome things that Disc Golf 978 also has for everybody. But we are not joined by Matt currently. He is joining the show in a little bit. Usually it's the one that I'm the one that's usually late. This week it is Matt that's going to be late, but I have my awesome cast: Evan Kearns with Stat Mando, Josh Graham, and Intern Ben. We can always call him Intern Ben, who's hosting a massive Northeast Disc Golf Expo. We are going to talk about that a little bit later. But here we are, episode 174. We're slowly creeping out of the off season, which is just insanely exciting. It's exciting for me because the course that I'm working on, that is the kickoff for the 2024 season in the All-Star event, and then also for the Chess.com Invitational. We're super excited to have everyone over at Olympus, but just want to bring it around to the table now. Guys, how are we doing on this awesome Monday night?
Doing good. Thanks, Nick. Yeah. Episode 174. What, for me, it's like episode 4, something like that. So, knocking the rust off. Although I think, like, Ben, I forget. I don't remember. I'm not going to call you out on it, but I have been on the show before, right? So it was quite a while ago. So it's not technically episode 4.
Yeah. You were, fun fact, the first show I was ever part of, like sitting and watching Matt and you guys do that, Josh was on it. And I don't think there was any Evan. There was Evan, but like not for that episode. So I think Josh replaced Evan for that exact episode. So
hey, I remember we don't have to go down reminisce channel. We're going to get to the real topics. But I remember hanging out before the show, maybe in Matt's basement, and him like texting with some guy he knows who's like doing stats, etc. And then like I had a question before a show, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just call him real quick." And he calls, and come to find out later it was Evan. So isn't it funny how all this stuff works out? And
all works out.
Here we are years later talking. Thanks to Nick and Matt for really jumping on it in the beginning.
We are trying our best since the year of COVID. We've been going strong for the most part. So I know one of the biggest things, we've had some awesome events happening the last couple of weeks, but mainly there was, I think, 3 big events that, Evan, we're going to let you take the floor now and go ahead and talk to us about the PDJ events.
Certainly. Well, we have about a month until the Pro Tour season starts off, but that doesn't mean that there's not interesting events happening in the meantime. Probably the most notable one is an ATR out in Arizona called the Shelly Sharp Memorial. It's played at the Vista del Camino course, which is one of the 2 courses that is hosted at the Memorial Tournament in a couple months. That is pretty well known. Used to be the kickoff to the tour season, whether the Pro Tour or the National Tour. Fairly iconic course. So we saw 3 rounds at Vista del Camino. In FPO, we saw Owen Scoggins win. That's her 8th Arizona win in our last 11 events across all divisions. And I believe it is her 2nd time winning the Shelly Sharp Memorial. She shot a 986 unofficial event rating and beat Jen Allen by 2 strokes. It was a 2-horse race between those 2, of course, other women in the division. But Jen Allen now has 7 straight first or second place finishes at the Shelly Sharp Memorial. She certainly does well down in Arizona, but wasn't able to beat Owen Scoggins this time. In 3rd place, I want to mention Emily Yale. I said it was a 2-horse race. Emily Yale then was 8 strokes clear of 4th place. And she is a member of the StatMander community and does a lot of cool stat research and is also a pretty darn good player herself. She won the 2022 U.S. Women's and FA1. And here she is coming in 3rd place, getting some lead card appearances with Owen Scoggins and Jennifer Allen. In MPO, we saw newly signed to DGA, Parker Welk gets a playoff win over Anthony Barella. Parker Welk goes with a 1050 unofficial event rating. That's the second highest of his career, assuming that the 1050 holds. It is, of course, unofficial as of the time being. His best career event rating was 2023 DDO, as I said, at a 1056. That was his big coming out win on the Pro Tour. Parker Welk has played a few offseason events. His most recent one was back in December of 2023, since we're in the new year now, called the Big Arm Challenge 4, which was also at the Vista del Camino course. So now he has back-to-back wins in events he's played at Vista. He won $1,455 as prize cash for coming in first place, which is the fourth highest of his career at just this A tier, behind, of course, DDO, the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship that he got into thanks to that DDO win, and then also the Hollows Fall Classic, which is in my state of New Hampshire, is his third best prize cash. That was his first A tier win of his career. He won an A tier after he won a Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series event, and now he has won his second A tier event at Shelly Sharp. I wanted to note, I mean, people are going to question, Vista del Camino, how hard is it? Well, Parker Welk had 9.67 birdies or better per round here. And if we compare that just to tour events, it would have been the second best of his major and pro tour career, but still considerably behind DDO, where he had 11.33 birdies or better per round. So interesting there. Lots of eagles. I know Owen Scoggins had a few eagles. I didn't check through Parker Welk's scorecard, but he definitely had plenty of birdies. In second place, Anthony Barella, who was the loser in the playoff, unfortunately. He won Shelly Sharp Memorial back in 2022, just 2 years ago, and also in 2019. And then he has won it a third time in MA1 all the way back in 2013. He was contending early with Drew Gibson, who ultimately finished in third place, 6 strokes behind the first and second place Parker Welk and Anthony Barella. This was Drew Gibson's first event back since coming back from injury. He last played in July of last year, where he played the Preserve Championship, but unfortunately DNF'd. He missed cash at his last 3 of his last 4 events before taking this injury break. So now he is back and looking fairly good, getting a podium finish out in Arizona. Other notable names jumped down to tied for 9th place. We saw Aaron Gossage, and Andrew Marweed unfortunately DNF'd after 7 holes. Any thoughts from the panel here about Arizona events before I swing it over to Asia?
Well, Arizona kind of has a little bit of a history of early season, tour disc golf with the Memorial, right, and plenty of other events, over the years in that area. Obviously, nice weather, it draws people. It's still preseason, if you want to call it that. And if we compare it to other sports, how much does preseason matter? Well, I think the actual wins themselves, other than getting cash in pocket for some of these players, right, they don't mean much. However, I think it's always fun and exciting. One, we've been chomping at the bit, right, to start seeing competitive disc golf, so it's exciting for us. We get to see who has early season cobwebs and who doesn't. I think it appears in disc golf, momentum seems to be a thing. And so although the wins themselves will probably fade from memory, for the players, it will stick right in their mindset. And if they can jump on it and use that momentum and right out of the gate, you never know how that'll kind of carry forward for them. Owen Scoggin, right? What'd you say, 986 rating? That's probably, I forget her actual average, but that's got to be close to it. But so is she going to pick up right where she left off? It would be exciting to kind of see. It's quite amazing what she did last year. It's great to see her picking up right where she left off, I think.
Yeah, I think that's one of the huge things was kind of Owen Scoggins was just playing incredible out in Arizona, where it's one of those courses, again, where it's not really suited to her game. They're a little bit longer holes. They're not, it's a wide open course where she probably heavily relied on the forehand of hers, the kind of chop forehand that she's found to be so consistent. And she's just an incredible putter all around. So awesome to her to pick up the win. And then I am super excited to keep seeing Parker Welk kind of keep rising. After the DDO, it was one of those big things where, hey, was it a fluke? Is that going to ever happen again for Parker? But then he's come back and he's won a couple A tiers now. He's competed at events and he's done well at those events. And then he also had a pretty major injury middle of the year last year at the Ledgestone Insurance Open. I think he twisted his ankle pretty bad to where he was only throwing forehands, and I think standstill forehands for a little while. So change of sponsorship is always fun to see out of players, kind of see how they're getting along with the discs. And then to come out early on in the season, compete against players who play that event over and over and over, and to come out and win it is a pretty cool storyline nonetheless. So excited to watch him go out on the tour this year. And then, AB's my boy. I love watching him play. I was, bummed he didn't get the win. But I think this is the year that AB does get one of those big wins out on the tour. So I'm also excited for that.
Well,
I like the point that you made about Owen Scoggins. I mean, this course, doesn't have a ton of trees, but it does have a ton of OB. So it allows her to really use the width of the fairway and then some. She can throw that forehand as much OB as she wants, as long as it lands in bounds, right? Mm-hmm. So she can use a lot of the land, and she's very good at landing safe. She was picking up a handful of birdies on par threes, if you remember that stat back at Deglow, where she didn't birdie a single par three on her way to her first elite win. But she was certainly getting birdies everywhere out in Arizona. I will swing it over now to Asia. I don't think many people knew that this event was happening this weekend. I honestly did not until I was just looking through the different scorecards and came across the Asia Open and wanted to look it out. And there were some good names here. I mean, the 2020 version of the Asia Open, which I believe was the last time this Asia Open occurred, happening historically every 2 to 4 years. But if anyone does know more about the Asia Open, feel free to share with me, because I want to learn a little bit more about this kind of recurring event. But the 2020 version, which was held just before kind of COVID-19 rocked the world, Jackie Chen beat Nate Perkins, Philo Brathwaite, James Conrad, and Manabu Kajiyama. It was that event that we're like, holy moly, who is this Jackie Chen guy, and how did he beat these known very good players? And here we are 4 years later with Jackie Chen in the field, along with Manabu Kajiyama and Philo Brathwaite. Manabu Kajiyama comes home with the win. He shot 56 under par through 63 holes. So that is pretty good. He won the Asia Open back in 2017 and 2015 prior. And he's also won the Asia Championship, which looks to be a different event. That one is held in Japan each time it occurs. And he won that back in 2022, 2019, and 2004. He's been playing at this top level for a while. If you remember, Manabu Kajiyama came over to the U.S. and played 3 events in the late part of 2023. And his best finish was 14th at the AFDO, the silver event out in Rochester, New York. Excuse me there. Jackie Chen finished in second place, and he was 3 strokes behind Manabu Kajiyama. But I think the most notable thing was in round 1, he shot an 18 under par, having 16 birdies, 2 eagles, and 2 pars. It was unofficially rated a 1063 rated round. Certainly, we're going to talk about how well this course was suited for maybe an MPO field, but going 18 down is an incredible feat regardless. As far as I could see, he was the reigning champ of the Asia Open, as I mentioned, that 2020 version that he won. And Jackie Chen, remember, came to the U.S. in early 2023 and placed as good as 7th at the La Mirada Open, which I believe was an A tier out in California. In third place, Philo Brathwaite heads over to Asia yet again. He plays lots of events out there. It's his 12th PDGA event in the continent of Asia. From that, he has 8 wins and 11 podiums, and this was one of those podiums. This event had a final 9 with 5 players making the lead card to the final 9. They played 9 holes. All of them finished 9 down or better. And I'll talk about 4th place. Kyle Kreikhaus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, out of Hong Kong, was 12 down through 9 holes with 4 birdies, 4 eagles, and just 1 par. And then would at least like to say the FPO winner was Chia Feng Chen, who won 32 under par. She won by 19 strokes. That's her 3rd career PDGA win, 2nd at the Asia Open, with her first ever PDGA win being the 2011 version of this event. Lots of new things out in Asia. What do you guys think of that?
Oh, I mean, when you talk about 18 down at any course, it's, pretty incredible. It just in general. Now, I don't want to call it the perfect round because it wasn't. There was 2 pars mixed into it. I don't think we've had technically a perfect round, and everyone's definition on what a perfect round is varies from person to person. But yeah, throwing those 2 back-to-back pars in there, and then 2 eagles picking up their other round. I mean, incredible round nonetheless. 1063 rated, I think you said unofficially. Awesome event by him.
is
I
correct.
know when Jackie had come over to the US the last time, it was kind of, we were all, I think, really anticipating some high-low performances out of him, but you also got to remember that it's his first time over here. He's playing all these events. They're brand new to him. So maybe, if he tries it again, comes back over, then maybe he'll have a little bit more success than the last time. But Manabu just proving how he's, still a baller. And Manabu is one of the same things. Had such a high rating out, overseas, highest rated player in the world for a little while, and then comes over to the US and, doesn't do as well, but you have to take in all the factors of travel and everything like that, to where, it does make it a little bit more of an issue. But we'll see. And then shout out to Philo going over there once again, getting the podium finish. And one of my goals in disc golf was always to go over and play the Japan Open. So if that ever happens again, and I am going to have the opportunity to do it, then that's what I would love to do one day, is go over and at least play the Japan Open.
Now, the Japan Open was back on the schedule, right, for a period of time, and then it got taken off the schedule.
It was
the details.
sanctioned,
It was an
and then they
unsanctioned last year, with
Got
Jeremy
it.
Colin winning in an MPO, or I think maybe it was single division. I forget exactly how it went down. But this event just notably was in Taiwan, although both East Asia, but Japan is the one that was hosting the Asia Championships. So again, not sure how those events link. They seem to be held on different years, so maybe there's some sort of organization out there that coordinates it, or they just generally plan different years to play different events. Before moving on from Asia, I want to at least share one name that unfortunately had to DNF. But if you guys remember the basketball player Jeremy Lin, there's someone with the same name. I'm assuming it's a different player,
That's awesome.
a different person. Lots of people have the same names. Especially a name like that out in Taiwan. So I just wanted to go down memory lane back in, what was that, 2011 or something, when Lin Sidity hit the Knicks. And that was certainly exciting times. But on the very slight chance that this is the same Jeremy Lin, that is so cool. And I'm glad he's found disc golf. But otherwise, if this is a different Jeremy Lin, which is more likely, very cool for him also.
Shout out to you for finding disc golf as well.
It is more likely.
More likely,
his
for sure.
His PDGA number is 276910, so it is very, very new.
Very new.
So he is new to the organization.
Yeah.
So that is cool to see either way. So shout out to Jeremy Lin. But I would bring it over to the Southwest Florida Open, the 23rd annual Southwest Florida Open out in North Fort Myers. This event only had an MPO field. Albert Tom wins it going even par. Yes, he wins going even par. Not a single player finished under par in MPO, at least for this layout. Albert Tom was the only player to finish any round under par, where he finished rounds 2 and 3 under par. No one else finished under par throughout the entire event. Luke Sampson was leading into the final round. He ends up losing, unfortunately, by 4 strokes to Albert Tom. Tom expands his winning in Florida to now 100% win rate from 3 events. He notably won the Open at Tallahassee, a silver event, a couple years back. Now he just won an event earlier in 2024, wins this one. He has 2 more Florida events before I'm assuming he plays the chess.com Invitational later this month. So we were talking before the show. Nick doesn't give high chances for Albert Tom to continue that streak, but if he does and he wins 3 more Florida events and keeps that 100% win rate, how incredible would that be, especially winning the chess.com Invitational to start the year?
Huge.
Also going down the leaderboard at this event, Maria Oliva was playing an MPO. Like I said, there wasn't an FPO field, whether she moved up just to play MPO or that was her intention all along. She finished tied for 7th out of 13 players. So congrats to her playing above her rating and getting what I assume she considers a great finish. And then speaking of people with similar names to famous people, Jimmy Carter finishes 6th place, although I'm pretty certain that's a different Jimmy Carter, but I at least wanted to mention it because that's I would put money on it. I would maybe, I don't know. I'm pretty likely.
I wouldn't
pretty
mind
certain.
though if you add to your reviews, just random players from any tier event each week that matches a famous name. That'll be a fun bit.
There you go.
Yeah,
I like
certainly. Yeah, I'll have to do more of that because that's certainly fun.
Who's the most famous name in disc golf playing, whether it's actually the famous person or not?
Yeah,
Like,
across any tier, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just pull out a
And
name.
there's got to be some like Michael Jordan.
That's what I'm saying. Like it'd be awesome. I
yeah,
kind of like that.
I mean, like a Tiger Woods might be a little bit more improbable, but
I would say so.
What are the chances if we saw Tiger Woods playing PDGA events? That would be pretty incredible.
I heard Tiger Woods is going to be at the Expo this weekend, but we'll see.
Whoa, Josh, that was disclosed information. Yeah, Tiger Woods is the GOAT of golf, and the GOAT of disc golf will be at the Expo, Paul Macbeth. So, I guess that's your analogy.
Whoa,
All the more reason to go
right.
to the Northeast Disc Golf Expo.
As if we didn't have enough reasons.
Yep, and Nick Carl and Nick Carl's cousin will be there, and that's all that matters.
All right.
Nice.
It'll
And
be
that's
good to
this
see my
weekend,
cousin.
Ben.
I know.
right?
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of not talking, because my brain is going everywhere and thinking, and I'm a little nervous but also very excited. So yeah, bear with me this show because I have a lot on my plate and got a lot of thoughts going in my head.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure regular listeners and viewers of the show, though, that's their favorite version of Ben. You got a lot going on in your head. Just like
I
let
don't
it,
talk.
Like, roll.
No, just kidding.
no. Just let it roll. I
Yeah,
love it.
exactly. So I'm excited though. I'm excited to be here.
Evan, do you have anything else on the Florida tournaments?
That does it for my recap. Certainly lots more events that I could talk about. So if you're interested in more events, go check them out and see what you can find. But that's all I have for right now.
Cool. Well, we had something funny kind of ironically happen last week on the show. We had the new executive director of the PDGA, Doug Bierkes, on the show to kind of talk about what his new role with the PDGA is. He went from being the president to, I think, the president, into the executive director. He took Joe Shargloff's job as Joe retired from the PDGA. His daughter is Paige Bierkes, known as Paige Shue now. She married Grady Shue. Back in 2018, she won the World Championships up in Vermont, and Brixton Cards has come into the sport of disc golf and kind of created, all the sports cards that we love to see the disc golfers with their names on and pictures and everything like that. Now, I am not a card collector whatsoever, so I don't know grading. I don't know 1 of 1s. I don't know 10 of 10s, anything like that, except, there are more rare cards than other ones. But one of the questions that I had asked Doug was if he has collected all of Paige Shue's 1 of 1 cards. And Ben Kenny, actually, intern Ben, had one of them. And so we were able to
I
hook
pulled
him up
one.
with
Yeah,
that.
I pulled it.
Yeah, you pulled it. So we were able to hook him up with that last year, actually in Vermont at the World Championships. Got some time to talk with him and figured out how to get that all set. Anyway, so I had asked him, he said there are 2 of them still out there, and he was missing those 2. Well, funny enough, this morning I get tagged on Instagram, and someone actually found in a gold packet one of the 1 of 1 cards, and it's actually being shipped currently to Doug Bierkes, so that he'll have just one final one to try to find. But it was kind of cool. It was a listener of Staggered Stance, and it was pretty ironic. We were kind of able to make that happen and help out Doug. So hopefully we'll all get free PDGA memberships this year. That'd be nice. Doug, if you're listening, I could use one. So anyway, it's just kind of like some fun that we had with the show last week, and pretty cool to see the disc golf community getting together and helping out Doug in that sense. It's got to be a pretty cool thing when your daughter, who's a world champion, you get all the 1 of 1 cards of her. It's, got to be awesome.
Yeah. Thanks to Brixton for creating cards that are fun to collect. Thanks to them for highlighting this story. Thanks to that listener.
I know his name. I'll shout him out real quick. Jared Russell.
it.
Shout out Jared Russell.
Jared Russell.
Thanks
Appreciate
for
you.
Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
Yeah, Jared, however that went down, if somebody took care of you or whatever, it doesn't matter. That's awesome that you promoted that and got that over to Doug. I want to know, were you just sitting on, because some people like to not open the cards, right? It's kind of a thing. But were you just sitting on that gold pack, and then when we talked about it, you had to open it, or was it coincidental timing? I'm curious. And Nick, you said you know nothing about collecting cards, but hopefully you know what 1 of 1 means, right?
I know there are rarer cards than other ones, but this is like how noobish I am when it comes to all of it. When you buy a pack of Brixton cards, do you just randomly get one of those gold packs, or do you buy?
It depends what you
pack?
buy. No, it depends what you buy. I also received some gold cards when I bought full packs, etc. I'm sure Brixton's in the chat; they can probably tell us everything. But
I have a buddy.
Check it out. It's fun, right? Because sometimes you know exactly what you're getting when you buy certain packs and certain deals, but then when you get the mystery aspect to it, it's a little bit like a micro version of Christmas where you have no idea what's in the package. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
It's like-
Yu-Gi-Oh cards back in the day. You know, used to duel people,
Ooh.
but no, I don't think I had anything special.
That's certainly cool, Nick. Thanks for sharing.
No problem. No problem.
Oh my
I was going to make a bad analogy about like disc golf mystery boxes and getting a gold thing, but it was just too obvious. So I'm not going to go down that route, but of course, just shared what I was thinking anyways.
I got you. I know discs are very collectible in the sport of disc golf. You have discs that, like, I have a couple Crystal Raptors that are 1 of 50. I don't have any 1 of 1 discs. I don't even know how many 1 of 1 discs are out in the world right now. But
Well, that was a good question. Obviously, the most common type of one-on-one are like misprints, right? Because you literally get one-on-one or custom stamped prints. But you probably don't get a lot of like runs or molds that were intentionally 1 of 1 because that's kind of not very economical.
It would be more like the reasoning, like what's special about that disc. I mean, the most obvious one I can think of is the Holy Shot disc.
Yes.
That's a 1 of 1. Like even though I mean MVP, I mean it wouldn't be 1 of 1s. It'd be the each iteration afterwards. But there certainly was a blue and yellow, if I have the colors correctly, green and yellow.
I think so.
Yeah, blue and yellow.
Blue and yellow. There certainly was an MV made in that color before the Holy Shot, and that wasn't the first ever MV in those colors. But it certainly has a special place and might be the most valuable disc in the world. We don't know, but there's certainly other ones. I mean, just like a winning putt, just like that was the putt that went in, or something else was cool about a disc. That would kind of make it more like a one-on-one, and that's kind of what you see. Like I'm thinking of baseball, like certainly cards. In baseball, you have 1-on-1s, but then if you're like a fan and you catch a baseball, getting like, Albert Pujols hitting home run number 700 is worth more than like a new batch of baseballs and getting the first iteration of that baseball. So it kind of changes on the circumstances.
Yeah, well, I think technically swirls can make a disc 1 of 1, even though it's the same run.
Oh,
Still different. So there you go.
Yeah, I hope we go down a whole path and debate what 101 really
Or
means.
Metal Flake.
Yeah.
Everything Metal Flake is 1 of 1. There's no way they have all the same Metal Flake in the same
See, that's
areas.
where
I mean,
that's
that's
where 1 of 1 doesn't work out in that regards. I mean, like,
No,
yeah.
if you want to go down that path,
Yeah.
everything's a one-on-one in life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know we don't obviously have a segment on collecting today, but it really is. I mean, collecting in general, first of all, is interesting. I'm not a big collector, but disc golf seems to have a kind of interesting, weird spin on collecting. I mean, every sport has its like niche, but man, people go crazy for exclusive discs and buy them up and stash them in a box, right? And decide what to do with it. And then the whole debate of like, do you want to get a special disc, but then make it a thrower, right? Go ahead and throw it anyway. So I don't know. It's an interesting discussion, but
I get a disc as a thrower, and that's about it. I have a couple I have a couple discs that were given to me as gifts. So like I have the blacked out Luna and Fierce from a Ledgestone St. Jude thing that was given to me by Paul and Hannah.
And you
But
don't
for the most
throw
part,
those.
if I get a disc, from Discraft up at the factory or whatever, it could be the coolest disc in the world, and it might be, worth something because it's got better swirls than another disc. But 99.9% of the time, if I get a disc, it's going to get thrown at least once, or it's just in a pile of discs waiting to be thrown. Like, I think I have probably 70 to 80 nukes just sitting in a rack, and probably 50 of them haven't even been touched yet, but they're just kind of, wait until I lose another 49 of them, and then the 50th one will get thrown. So,
Yeah, that's my
we'll see.
that's my problem. Just buying a bunch of one disc because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use them eventually, and then just never getting to them because I moved on.
Well, that's how it works too. The more you have, the less you lose that disc. But if you only have 1 or 2 of a certain mold, you're absolutely going to lose that, and then you're straight out of luck. But if you buy 50, then you're golden, and you never lose the disc ever.
Exactly. It's always going to be there for you. So one of the things that I forgot to mention at the start of the show, but we have Gannon Burr coming on tonight.
Yeah,
we're
just waiting for him.
Totally
Gannon
forgot
who?
about it. We're just
Gannon
waiting
who?
for Gannon right now.
Burr.
7:30 was originally the time we were supposed to have him on, so we're waiting for him. We actually had Gannon Burr on, about a month ago? Not even, maybe 3 weeks ago or something like that, before the big change from Prodigy to Discmania.
I don't think it was that soon. I think it was November, was it not?
Was it November? Was it
Or
all the
like
way
the
back
first
then that we
weekend
had
of
him and Matt
December?
on?
I don't know. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was like
Had to be
November.
December. Was it November?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Time
That's
flies.
that's
Yeah.
It was probably
Time's flying
December.
right now.
Matt went to Iowa, whenever that was.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, we can ask
Exactly.
Matt when he hops back on because he'll
Right,
certainly
we're
remember
waiting
that.
for Matt. We're waiting
But
for
then we have-
Gannon.
We're waiting for
Um,
Matt, waiting for Gannon. So we're just going to keep casually talking about disc golf topics. And one of those things was, maybe we'll finish the conversation later on, but the tour this year in 2024 is starting in Florida. When it comes to the actual Disc Golf Pro Tour, we are starting with the All-Star event and the Chess.com Invitational back-to-back here in Brooksville, Florida. And I say here because I'm literally in Brooksville currently as we speak. What are our thoughts on that? I mean, I've heard mixed reviews from pros. I've seen a lot of them say, hey, we're, bummed that it's not starting in Arizona anymore or Vegas. And I think those are a lot of players that have had great success at those tournaments. And then you also have a lot of people that are out on the West Coast that really enjoy them starting out there because it's an easier flight or an easier drive to get those events. Personally, I'm very excited for the tour to be starting down in Florida. I think weather-wise, it's a better chance of having decent weather. I've been to Vegas a couple times in late February, and it's either snowing out in the morning or it's 70 degrees of dry heat. Now, I absolutely love 70 degrees of dry heat, but you don't always get that out there. So what are you guys' opinions on the tour starting out in Florida this year? Brand new.
I can go. Josh looked like he opened his mouth, but I personally like it. I think it makes, to me, at least a little more sense to start at least in Florida and then go over to Texas rather than go to the West Coast, then the middle, then back to the West. It's still not as, I guess, ergonomic, but I think it is ergonomic not the right word?
You might mean economic, probably.
Streamlined.
But I'm not sure.
I mean, like, it's not like streamlined. It's like you're still going down to Florida, Texas. It's not like in the same vicinity. Ergonomic's got to be the word.
You may be just right, Ben. We're just having a good time. You're
Come
making
on.
a good
Come on.
point.
Ergonomics like that mouse that looks funky so it like fits your hand better, right? It's like
the study of people's efficiency
in their working environment.
Yeah, so
Ben has a point. So Ben, keep going. It is more ergonomic, I think.
yeah, it is. It's more ergonomic. Less. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah. So I do like the idea of it starting in Florida. I'm excited for kind of like a different feel or vibe to the course. We, like Josh was saying, we start in Arizona, in Las Vegas, and all that. In the Goat Hill Challenge, all these are just open, kind of dry, golf-esque type of courses where that's what you kind of expect. Then you go to Vegas where it's open. I'm excited to kind of get into the woods right off the bat, and pretty much it's like woods. I know Waco is going to be a four-day Elite Series now with the woods and a golf course, but I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it, see the change up, and I think it'll be a nice switch up, and I give props to the Pro Tour for making the decision, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah. So Ben, let's bring Matt in with 5 up.
Yeah.
And Nick, while
Matt.
we transition, some people were asking in the chat, just give us the 30 seconds on how the course is looking. People are asking tee pads, course design.
Yeah. So the design of the course actually took a couple of the holes were redesigned. We added in 2 holes, kind of took out some other filler holes that were on the property before. Now, I don't remember exactly what numbers, but this year the players are going to see a new hole 5. They're going to see a brand new hole 9. Now we're also going to see new tee pad locations on 2. We're going to see a new tee pad location on hole 4. And I could go on through the course, but the 30-second version is we installed the Disc Golf Park turf tee pads that are fully installed now. I have all 36 sleeves for the course for the baskets installed. I am currently building the new baskets that we got, and then also putting in the other 18 baskets that I currently have on the property as well. So those will be hitting the ground this week. That's on my list of things to do. And then very, very cool thing. I planted grass about 10 days ago, trying to green up the course in some areas that we took down a lot of sawgrass and muddied up with the skid steer. I planted grass about 10 days ago, and it is finally growing in. It's a beautiful, luscious green color. So I'm super excited because I'm hoping that if I finish planting all the seed that I need to, then it's going to look very green for the tournament. So that's obviously super exciting for me. But yeah, so for the most part, we have turf tee pads going to the ground. There are many changes that are coming out in the course. For the casual people that will be coming out, the casual member, lifetime members, or just the everyday pay-to-play people, My goal within the first few months of this property is to have a short tee pad, a short basket, a long tee pad, and a long basket. So you'll have the option to be able to play short to short, short to long, or long to short, long to long. And we're going to have all of those set up in the very, very near future. I'm excited about it, and I can't wait. I don't want to release an opening date yet because I'm waiting on one final thing to go through, and then I'll be able to kind of shout out what our opening date is. But
that one final thing is your first paycheck, right? You're like,
Yeah,
once I get paid,
yeah,
I'll
imagine.
open this thing up. And
Yeah.
no, I like how I teed that up and spoken
Yep.
like a true course manager. So
Yeah.
yeah, you've got it all locked and loaded. But
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
I
We can
think
hear
we
you.
can, Matt. Welcome.
Wow. We don't want to leave Gannon in the green room too long here, but I've been running since this morning, Boston to Houston, and here we are. And I have to say this before I forget, Ben, I drove by a billboard on the way to this hotel that said the world's largest Kinsey Expo. And I was like, Ben, you got to get on that. There's an expo out there. They
What?
think they're the world's largest. You could probably do bigger, like the quinceanera, you know?
Yeah,
So.
I think I saw something like that in my
What?
I'm not even kidding. In my searches recently, I saw that and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty interesting that, that's a huge thing, I guess, down
It's a big
down
money
south."
market.
Yeah.
Disc golf, not so much. Okay. Are we ready to bring Gannon in?
Yeah.
We are ready.
Is Gannon
All right,
ready?
let's
That's
do
the
it.
question.
I'll bring
Is he
him in
ready?
if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show, Gannon BUHR.
Bye, Evan.
How did we used to do it?
Gannon BUHR
Gannon
Oh, there we
BUHR.
with the brand new disc.
Whoa,
What
this
up,
guy looks
Gannon?
like he's sponsored by Discmania. Holy cow. Disc, shirts, the whole thing.
So
Bullshit.
welcome to the show, Gannon. It's the first time since you've been away from Prodigy and now with Discmania. How's it going? How's life? How is Urbandale? I won't give out the address, but how is it?
Our way up. But I don't know how good my chances are of really trying discs out before the season starts, unfortunately. My dad does live in Florida, so I might, like I said, go down there to test out for like a week.
Chili.
With what money, Gannon? With what money are you going to Florida on a flight?
Yeah, with the
Signing
Your mom's
bonus.
paying for it? No.
All
right,
but yeah,
cool.
it'll be a lot warmer down there, so I'll be able to test some stuff out. I'll probably end up like shipping a box of stuff. Well, it's even harder because I've had a ton of nice people reach out to me, and I've traded, and people have sent me some free stuff too to like try out. And so when I thought I had my bag kind of set, it's just all out the window now because I have a bunch of new stuff to try out. Yeah, I think it'll be. I think once I get my bag dialed in, I think my ceiling would be a little bit higher because I'll have better fairway drivers and drivers specifically, which is important off the tee.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
mean,
Stu,
I was lucky enough
observation.
to watch you throw Maple Hill a few rounds this year, and I know you're not happy with one of them, but man, yeah, pretty good, and you're professional. That's your answer lately. That was one of your pet peeves. I listened to one of your interviews when they say, "Hey, that's pretty good. I couldn't do that good." You're like, "No kidding."
Yeah, duh,
Yeah. So I've listened to almost all of your interviews. We still wanted to have you on, of course, because one, you're a friend of the show, and two, because people that listen to our podcast may not listen to others. And so we're going to try to navigate some of this to see what we can figure out. Just in short, real short. What's it like having everybody interested in how much money you make? Is that cool? Are you annoyed by it?
I guess kind of cool, but I mean, it's not public knowledge, so no one's ever gonna find out. So you can quit asking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm getting taken care of. That's all I'll say. I'm very, very happy with the deal I was able to get, and I think both of us on both sides are really, really excited.
Very cool. All right, so we won't ask that, or I'll say I won't ask that. We got a whole team of guys here asking questions. But so you're 18. You're doing things many other kids dreamed of at this point in their life. If they're into disc golf, your game is insane. You're extremely smart on the course with the game of disc golf. I got to see it firsthand. We got to talk a lot when you were staying at my house. Your brain, when it comes to disc golf, I think is second to almost none. I'm serious. But when it comes, but when it comes to your markability or branding, what kind of things are you being coached on, or do you think are important for yourself? So like set aside the disc golf competition. This is like a new opportunity for you with a new manufacturer. Like, what do you think is important when it comes to your branding? And like, is anybody helping you with that?
I mean, definitely making YouTube videos for sure. It's going to help to have like Alden and Gavin on the team, and then also being on the same team as Silas. Yeah, he's really good at making videos. I think, yeah, just continuing to be present on social media. I feel like not like intentionally trying to be super public, but you know, I had one guy comment to me, you know, he said it's nice to see a pro active on these Facebook pages, and communicating with other people. And I basically just said like, hey, we're all here to just find some cool discs, you know. It's and so I guess that's just like other people kind of see it as like, oh, cool, that's a pro, you know, taking his time out of his day to be on a group. But for me, it's just like that's what I want to do, you know. And so it's cool to see people enjoy that. And yeah, just hopefully consistent posting. Hopefully like four days a week at least would be nice. And yeah, just making sure I've good content and good ideas. It's not like a bunch of like wasted posts. So I'll probably have to like think through some stuff, but it's tough because there's only like, I don't know, there's a lot of generic stuff you can post obviously whenever you want, but it's tough to think of those kind of funny ideas that you'll know will get a lot of likes.
Right. And so that kind of leads me, we're getting to it a little bit. Alden's vlogs, as everybody says, are amazing. There's probably going to be some questions tonight in regards to like him joining Discmania too, but separate from that and making videos, which is a huge part of today's like who you are as a brand. I think you have to have media for sure. But like when you look out there and you see other players with brands, like, is there anybody out there that you would say, hey, I think they're doing a really good job with their brand? Like a player, like I'm just going to throw one out from my perspective. It would be like Paul Macbeth. It's one of the largest brands out there, right? In disc golf. It's a brand.
Yeah.
What does it take to get to that? Who are your people that you kind of look for?
Yeah.
Or like,
Well,
they're doing good.
Yeah, there's like different ways to do it because you have those players that aren't as good that still have really good brands, and you also have those players that are higher level that do have those big brands like Simon. I know, like I think AB is a good example. Now he definitely has like been posting some YouTube stuff, which is important, especially because people just want to see stuff in the off season. But you know, I think he's just like he's very likable because he throws bombs. He's a cool guy, and I think disc golf needed someone like him, I guess, like that kind of cool kid that you know, disc golf, I guess, at least when I was growing up, was known as like a nerdy sport, but then you have someone as cool as AB playing, you know, it makes it more valid. And so people, I mean, I think I see more AB jerseys than any other jersey, honestly, whenever I'm at the course. So he's obviously doing something right. And yeah, I try to do that too with like when I was at Kansas City last year, just, you know, throwing that kind of crazy shot and then end up putting a Mando in the next day. So stuff like that, people just kind of want to see fun lines being thrown and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean, you're 18. And so like, it's not expected that right out of the gate. I mean, you as a person are likable. I was just curious what your thought process was there. And to hear you talk about AB, I think you're pretty spot on. And I guess all I'm trying to get at here is, do you feel like your branding is where you want it to be? And what are your dreams for your brand? Have you thought about that? Like, who do I want to be? Just likable, have lots of videos and likes, shirt, clothing, discs. I mean, where's the end goal for you?
Yeah. I mean, you want to like kind of piece it apart and break it in. You want to have like one thing from every aspect. So maybe that is merchandise, having a good YouTube channel, then being likable off the course, and then being fun to watch on the course. So I think it's a mix of everything. You can't really it's very rare and hard to just kind of have one of those things and get away with it. You kind of need to build it up through a lot of different things. And yeah, I think that just comes with time. I know that, you know, I'm not going to be as popular as Paul or Eagle or Ricky or Simon off the gate, even though I could perform better than them any weekend. You know, it's just like I just haven't had the time on the earth to, you know, pull off more of those crazy shots or those crazy wins. It just takes time. Even though I might be there right now, it'll form, I think, in the next couple of years.
Yeah, no concerns here. Just wanted to see where your mindset was at with this change. Josh, I'm going to throw it over to you.
All right, cool. Hey, Gannon. So I've already listened to all your other podcast interviews, so I've got no questions. No, I'm joking. But I actually want to follow up, right? So first of all, have you confirm you didn't use an agent to represent like your value in any negotiations for this new contract. Is that right?
Yeah, no agent.
And so you're saying you were comfortable representing yourself, right? I think you said you understand your value. So I'm curious, was this contract really about you trying to get the most total value possible, right? So like, is that what you were after? Or was it more of just getting something that you would call like comfortable, or I think the word you used is like, hey, I'm being well taken care of. Were you pursuing like literally every last drop of possible value you could get, or was there a bigger picture from your mindset?
I mean, obviously in a contract, the money's probably going to be the most important thing. Obviously you have those kind of terms that you're maybe will be different from company to company. But yeah, I'd say like, I guess from what I believe my value is, I think I got, definitely what I was looking for at least. And I mean, like I said, I wasn't afraid to kind of say what I wanted in a deal. I was like, hey, it'd make me feel more comfortable if you could, take this out or add this, or maybe we could bump that up a little bit. So stuff like that, I'm not scared to say, because if I'm going to be signing a big deal with the company, I need to feel comfortable myself. And Discmania was super flexible, and we both, I think, got, I guess what we wanted to. We kind of came to an agreement on pretty much everything there was, to make me happy, and then also have them still, get what they wanted as well.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So this is literally not a follow-up question about what the actual contract is, because I'm not going to dig or pry into that at all. But how do you know that you got what you're valued at? Is this just hey, this is what I personally literally think the economic calculation is, or is this a comparison against other pro contracts that you're aware of? Is it a mixture of those things? Matt asked you about branding and like your persona, right? Social media, like there's all of these factors. And without somebody kind of really representing those topics, what were you doing to evaluate that? Is it just, do disc golfers know what all the other disc golfers are getting paid, and that helps you kind of set your negotiation standpoint?
Yeah, I'd say aside from like the top deals, we're somewhat loose about it. Knowing like what, I pretty much know what all my friends make. And obviously I'm not going to share that with anyone, but I kind of evaluated it as, $1 million a year is GOAT status, and that takes so long to build up. And like I said, I might be playing as good as them, and so I know, but I haven't had the time yet, and I'm not even close to. I'm not going to sell close to what Paul McBeth sells or what Simon sells. It's just not going to happen right now. And so I kind of just, not like difficult calculations, but the offers that I received and the final deal I ended up getting, I thought was pretty fair for what I believe my value is. And so yeah, to me it was a pretty actually easy process, kind of with how my whole off season went down with contracts. Wasn't that stressful at all. Especially the people at Discmania are really easy to work with. I get answers pretty much immediately if I ask a question. And so, talking with Austin Montgomery, it's been easy because he's a friend of mine, and so kind of talking back and forth with them on, I want this, I want that. We can settle on this. It was really easy because it felt like I was talking to a friend, and there wasn't a lot of pressure. So I could be like genuine and feel comfortable with what I was saying.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Thanks for elaborating. It sounds like for the most part, you are aware of what the surrounding market is, right? Meaning other peers, other contracts, which lets you kind of determine your value, right? Many of the fans outside of the giant deals that are announced publicly don't have lots of insight. And so, right, helping us thinking about what it would be like to determine value is like really complex. But for you saying, yeah, I know what other peers are making. I know what other, some of the, maybe not the top contracts that have been really, quiet, but those insights really help you for that. I'm curious, just from pure speculation, we obviously saw the market, the disc golf market, really jump in the short term post COVID, and then in general kind of hit a little bit of a ceiling, see a little bit of a tapering off. Obviously you only had like so much control, so this has nothing to do with the prior contract or this contract, but I'm more curious from yourself. Do you think if the timing had been different, could you have negotiated a different value for this contract, or is that not even a thing in your mind? You're looking towards the future.
Yeah, I don't think any of that affected my deal personally. I think we definitely see it a little bit in those more mid-level players, and a lot of players actually have been like let off their teams even, and maybe companies, in disc golf, it's an interesting sport. I'm not sure if this is how it works in kind of every sport, but I mean the curve of how much a player is actually worth and the value and how important they are to have. It's like, you have your couple goats up here, obviously, and then it drops off just a little bit to kind of like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then once you get past 8, 9, 10, it just drops off real hard. And so those players that are kind of outside of that, you look at it and you could ask, a random fan, would you rather buy, a Simon Lizotte disc versus a player that's maybe ranked like 30th in the world? And people are going to say Simon every single time. And so it's kind of just that. And I'm definitely, I think where I'm at is like right below the big drop off. So I'm still up here, which is, I'd say decently accurate. I guess I don't have enough room on my screen to show where like Simon and Ricky and Paul are, but that's kind of my point. And I think a lot of companies are realizing that, even these contracts that they may be paying, this is just a number, but let's just say it was a $50,000 a year contract for a player of mid-level. Maybe they aren't seeing that return on investment, and so it's not worth it. And then, now in the world of disc golf, we have House of Discs, which is a combination of 5 companies right now, I believe. And then, we obviously have DD, Westside, and Latitude all working together. And so, and then you have, MVP, Axiom, Streamline, who make Mint and Thought Space. And so these companies are kind of like, they're kind of, I guess, maybe working together to try to see actually what players like worth their time, I guess, and like if it's worth it for the company to give that player a sponsorship agreement.
Yeah, so you said you don't have enough room on the screen to show the difference between, Paul, Ricky, Simon, I think were the names you mentioned. I'm sure there's a few more there. Do you see yourself becoming someone in that tier in your career? Do you see yourself becoming comparative to Paul, Simon, Ricky, maybe Eagle?
I hope so. I think it doesn't help that I feel like my game's pretty boring. Just on a typical disc golf round, I have a pretty boring game. I feel like I kind of just throw the stock shot. As disc golf's getting a little bit, more important to like be smart with the shots you're throwing, we're not going to probably see as many as those Simon lines as we did in the past. But I guess like the one thing I have going for me is like maybe my putting. We'll see how that works. Obviously putting can be on or off based on the year. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's the goal, to be at their level, but I think it's going to be a little bit harder. I think back in, their day when they gained their popularity, there was nobody else doing that kind of stuff. Simon was doing trick shots and making content. Paul and Ricky were just winning every single tournament. And then Eagle is, I guess, more of the kind of newcomer to that, where he kind of did both media and played really, really good. I think 2021 season, he had like 4 Pro Tour wins halfway through the year. I don't know if he ended up getting any more, but I mean, just the fact that he was on fire that much throughout the year kind of built up his popularity. And then obviously he throws super far, has a big forehand, and people just want to watch that.
This makes me think, I think you gave the answer kind of, but does anything like that ever cross your mind during a round? And here's what I mean. You talked about throwing the Simon line, or your game maybe isn't, quite as exciting, but it's more about executing. Does that ever cross your mind during a round, or is it like, no way, like during the round, it's all just focused on the task at hand?
I don't know. I definitely will be like walking next to Calvin or Eagle or Paul or whatever, and I'll be like, wow, they're just so much further ahead of me, I guess, in everything. Or like I still look at them like, wow, like, because especially on the disc golf side, from my eyes, I'm just a person who plays disc golf that, you know, I guess like for me, when I throw a good shot, like people say it looks easy, but in my head, I'm like, oh, that was hard to do. I'm glad it worked out. And then I look at people like Calvin or Simon or any of these people, and they're having these really hot rounds where they're just throwing so many perfect shots over and over and over again. And I'm like, wow, it must just actually be easy for them. But I think in their heads, they're probably thinking the same thing if they watch me throw a good shot. And so I think I look at that perspective maybe a little bit too much of like, you know, to them it's just easy. Where in reality, I think it's just we're just good disc golfers, and we just do that stuff. You know, with all the years of work we put in, and so yeah, I'd say that's probably how I look at it.
That must be nice. The comment where you say we're just, you know, disc golfers and we do that stuff, because I'm over here thinking I'm a disc golfer, Gannon, and I don't do that stuff. But then again,
One day,
I'm not negotiating contracts, and I'm not even trying to. So that is a big difference. All right, one more thing before I kind of hand it off. So, you had a great year last year, but you have commented and said that you really felt like you were off most of last year. Things just didn't quite feel right on the course, right? Forgetting how to throw, just different challenges. Do you sense, like, do you have a feeling that that's going to be different this year? Like, has anything clicked differently for you? Are you ready to go? Or is it going to be like, we'll just have to see how it plays out?
I think I'll know like 2 events into the year what kind of a year it's going to be. In 2022, it seemed like my game was very consistent, but the ceiling wasn't as high. I think just from experience standpoints, and obviously at USDGC, I think I kind of really showed my high ceiling and my game feeling good at the same time. Where last year, it kind of felt like, you know, my ceiling was a lot higher, but the consistency range was also a lot bigger. And so, yeah, it was weird. I just like last year, I just didn't feel like me really ever. I couldn't step up. I wouldn't step up onto a tee pad and just think about the shot I'm throwing. I always had to think about my form. I was thinking about my body, and it's just like, no matter if you tell yourself not to think about it, you're thinking about it. And so it's very tough to block that out. But what happens for me is when I get into these high pressure situations, then I don't think about it anymore. And so, you know, the times that I was up there for the win, I most of the time ended up winning. And so I think it was because I kind of forgot about that. I was more focused on the shot I was trying to throw. And that kind of comes into the form aspect of it, because I think my form last year was inconsistent at times. It was definitely like my timing and my mechanics weren't great for multiple aspects of the game. And I think over the offseason, they've already been fixed quite a bit. My pull-through is a little bit flatter. Last year, I kind of had an issue of like, and I do tell a lot of AMs to do this, to kind of pull through on a little bit of anhyzer, because most AMs pull through on a ton of hyzer and they're way up here. And so that's kind of a tip I give. And over the year, I started to reach back on more anhyzer, even if I was throwing a hyzer shot. And I'd come through, and instead of like a nice flat pull through and then extend, it was like here and hyzer, and it was like a swoop. It was like super weird. And so I think I've already gotten rid of that. And so if I can have form that's good when I'm not thinking about it, then I think that's going to be a consistent season. Forehand is kind of hit or miss, and same with putting. It's literally like, hopefully it stayed consistent in the off season, because forehand, I don't really throw forehands in the off season because I don't know, it just takes a little bit longer to warm up the forehand. It takes more effort in my opinion, so it's not that fun to throw forehands even for me. But putting, I've been trying to keep my normal. I've been doing like 200 to 300 putts a day from 30 feet. I don't even have that many putters right now. We're still working on getting me a box of the new P3Xs, which will be out soon, and so I'm excited for that. Yeah, I've been getting work done with what I got, and I'm really looking forward to the season just starting. That way, all my stressors right now in life are just, don't have to worry about them. I can just focus on disc golf.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, certainly rooting for you. Thanks for bearing with some of my questions. Nick, you gonna grill Gannon with something good here or what?
Yeah, I try to grill all the guests with some pretty simplistic questions, and you kind of just answered one of them, but one of the big ones was, what are you going with, the Link or the P3X? But it sounds like P3X.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, because right now I have, I actually, I think I like the Lynx more right now. But with the new mold of the P3X is different than the old one. I think the potential is there to have me like that one a little bit more. And obviously, I don't think it'll be too long on putting with that because we want to obviously make a Gannon BUHR putter eventually because that's, I feel like, what I'm known for. And so once that comes out, I'll probably be putting with that, obviously. But until then, yeah, P3X or Link. Right now, probably Link. And but once I get these P3Xs, I think in like a weekish, then I'll know.
All right. I guess besides for Discmania taking care of you, what was the selling point that really wanted to make you sign with them?
I think there was like two things in my mind. One is very obvious, the money was there. And the second one though, there's multiple different parts. Now it kind of came down to Discmania and then a much smaller company. And so, I was looking at in my mind, like it was tough because I think I just don't know if I quite have that pull yet to have Gannon BUHR grow a company. I'd rather, I feel like, maybe be a part of a big company that can help grow me, and then we can kind of work together rather than it being more, I'm almost bigger than the company is. And so that was one thing. Discmania did having the biggest offer at the end of the day, but they also had a final phone call with me where they kind of introduced a couple new aspects to my contract that I can't share, but I think information could be out soon. Actually, I'm not too sure about that on the date or anything. But they did add a couple things pretty last second to where it really made me sway Discmania, and then it got to a point where it was 100% Discmania, and so it was the process for like a month ish there was really difficult. I wasn't sure what company I was going to go. I was kind of back and forth, and but toward the end of the off season, it did switch to Discmania.
So we see you switch, we see Alden switch, Gavin Papcock switched a year or two ago to Discmania. Those were all kind of great points for you getting over there as well. But then also we just recently saw Eagle officially leaving Discmania to go over to MVP. Did that at all sway your decision? Did you feel like you wanted to be under Eagle, or now that you are they still have Kyle Klein, this year's USTGC champion? Do you feel like with Eagle leaving, that was able to open up a couple more doors for you joining this company?
Yeah, in a little bit of a way, because obviously when Simon left, it was kind of the Crush Boys thing that they kind of built up was almost gone in a way. Obviously, Eagle's still a huge player, and so he can still take care of a company on his own. But then once Eagle left, it was like less of a disappointment, I guess, because the brand that Eagle and Simon built up was kind of not the brand, but like their kind of, I don't know, teamwork, I guess. That era's gone, and so having me, Kyle, and then Nick Loss's re-signing announcement today was sick, and so I think our team is pretty low key going to be pretty good this year. Hopefully, I think all three of us might be in the top 10 world ranking right now, and so we've seen Nicholas and Kyle perform really good at majors in the past. Me and Kyle each have a major, and I think that Discmania is the slogans, the future. I think all three of us, and having Alden, Gavin, and all these players, Casey White, we have Cole Montgomery. We're kind of we're a pretty young team right now that has a lot of potential, and so I think this could be the year that we prove it. And if we can do that, I think we can really skyrocket the brand.
So coming out of the 2022 season, going into the 2023 season, we had seen you were originally supposed to be leaving Prodigy back then. A lot of stuff happened. I mean, there was a lawsuit that was being kind of held over you. So there was kind of, some people would say, a lot of bad blood. Was there any renegotiation with Prodigy going into the 2024 season? Did they approach you at all with an offer that was better than your previous one? Or were you kind of at the point where, all right, I'm done. Time to move on?
I definitely did. I did give him another chance to give me an offer. I don't know, I guess, what the holdup was on it. I actually end up never getting an official offer from Prodigy. I kind of had to cut it because it was taking too long. Because I had originally said a deadline of when I needed an offer, and then they got back to me and said they needed like 2 more weeks, and I'd already basically had my deal wrapped up, and so I was like, I just don't know if I can wait that long because I know I got to get things moving. That way I can just be ready going. I just want to feel prepared. And plus, I feel like I'd already gotten pretty much everything I wanted to in my contract. I did give him a chance. Nothing ended up coming out of it. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Does this kind of bring a whole new excitement going into the season? We talked to a lot of pros who are taking these massive switches and they think changing up the discs in their game, kind of reinventing themselves, a little slogan to Discmania, adds a huge boost of confidence. I mean, I've been able to, talk to MLB players, NBA players, and they say kind of when they're on, a team that's not doing so well, doesn't really have the best playoff contention, but then they get to a team, they either get traded or sign in free agency to a team that gives them that little extra boost in confidence where you feel like you're on a winning team. Does this kind of have that same mentality to where now you feel like you're a more confident person, almost happier in a sense going into the new season?
Yeah, I definitely say I'm like happier. I mean, switching is it's just really fun to learn a new bag of discs. And then it's a bonus to have Alden and Gavin and Kyle and Nicholas on the team with me because I'm pretty dang good friends with all of them. I consider them definitely in my top group of friends. So it's good to have all of us. It'll be fun to just talk about discs, talk about anything that's happening with the company or new releases and stuff like that. We can cross promote each other. And so that's big for me is to have a family feel. It's definitely exciting. And like I said before, I'm gonna have a lot of new slots in my bag. I've never had good fairway drivers. I felt like that I could kind of the like 7-speed fairway driver. So now I have the FD, the FD1. I have the Essence. I have I have the PD, CD2. I have so many good fairway drivers now. Where we see people like Calvin just shred courses, and I think he's pretty confident with his fairway driver lineup. And now that I have that as well, I think my tee to green is going to be a lot better, and that's what's most important for winning is the person who gets the most birdie looks.
Definitely. And speaking of the discs, this will kind of be my last, question before I hand it off over to Evan. But speaking of the discs, you're going from a company that was producing their own discs down in Georgia, being Prodigy, and we've seen players with Discmania in the past, back when Innova was molding their discs, and then now the House of Discs, whether it's Latitude, 64 molding them. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but how does that feel kind of joining a company that is reliant on another company to fulfill the requests of Discmania?
I think with House of Disc being so big now, I've already seen it. I mean, there's some pretty crazy stuff that I've seen that I can't share that will be coming, and it's actually insane the amount of control they have over what they can do to each disc. I think we've seen specifically from Discmania a new level of consistency with the plastic. It's all just like really consistent. I mean, you can go to any shop, it's all going to be the good. I mean, the C line is my favorite plastic right now. It's stiff, which is like my favorite part. It's nice and stiff, and so I get that good feel whenever it's hot outside, and I feel like it's not like warping in my hand, and so it's just like it's very good to see. It's trustworthy because I can go to them and say, hey, let's make this run a little bit more overstable, and then they can do that. It's so cool to have them kind of. They definitely reach out to the players and kind of see what they want to have done, and they can make those the changes they need to make for the discs to improve, or maybe you just want to try something new. And so yeah, I'm excited. I think what's to come in the future is going to be pretty game breaking for disc golf, and I can't wait for people to see and what their reactions are.
All right, my last easy question: what are your goals for the 2024 season?
I just want a major. I don't even care if I win anything else. I just want to win at least one major. I mean, I think that's my like end goal, but my goal that I'm going to be looking for is to be in contention every single event. Like never give up, which I never really do, but like in a way I just like didn't play good. And so yeah, just never give up. If I can be in contention at every single event, I'm going to win at least a couple. And so if that's the end goal, as long as I'm doing that, I'll get a couple wins, finish the season good. That way I can stay relevant in the game. I think we've seen it sometimes with people that just maybe have an off year, they're not too present, they're not playing, you know, they're still a big name, but no one's quite talking about them as much as they did in the past. And so I want to just stay up there. I want to always be in the conversation. Being on coverage is huge. Just making lots of league cards after round one is going to be big for me.
Definitely. I actually thought of one last question. It should be a pretty brief one, and then I am going to toss it over to Evan. Tour is starting in the state of Florida this year. You've had success at the Las Vegas Challenge, a second place playoff finishes, one of the awesome playoffs that we had in our sport. So you've had success out there on the West Coast. Now we're jumping over to the East Coast for the 2024 season. How does that feel for you? Do you feel excited about it? Do you wish we were still starting in Arizona and Vegas? You know, where are your thoughts on it?
I'm definitely going to miss that kind of feeling of the first couple events. And now, obviously, I think it does make a lot more sense to start in Florida. For me, I kind of looked at it as I had this super fun, relaxing all-star weekend I could look forward to in Tucson, Arizona. Then we play Vegas, and then we play the Memorial. So for me, it kind of felt like we had a lot of time up there. And it just feels like nice to kind of be in like just a super hot climate, in that kind of a climate. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But everyone kind of has that nostalgic feeling, or just you just already know it's going to be a fun weekend with the boys. But yeah, I'm really excited because it's always exciting for a new Disc Golf Pro Tour event at a new course, no matter what, if it's a good course or a bad course. It's just good to have something fresh. And we saw that like with the Des Moines Challenge a couple of years ago, and now the Florida Open. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't. Only tournament I think I played in Florida was the Open at Tallahassee, and Florida definitely has especially specifically the course I know that you're helping with. I know it's got kind of an interesting landscape, and so to be in Florida with that landscape, so I think it's only an hour and a half from my dad's house, so might go up and play it, practice it, or I don't even know if that's gonna be allowed or not. But
Let me
I'll
know
at least
when you're in town. We'll make it work. I know a guy.
Okay. I'll at least probably be in Florida about a week early to test some stuff out and just get ready for the off season or the season.
Awesome. I'll toss it on over to Evan. Give him the hard questions.
Yeah, well, you let him off easy on that cutting edge stuff coming to Discmania and House of Dis. Get it? I know you're not going to say it, but can you tease any more? Like, is it a new mold? Is it new plastic types? Is it remote controlled discs? Like, what is the subject we want to be thinking about?
I'll just say like the ability to kind of I guess affect the disc how you want it to be affected. I guess I don't know.
Not helping me one bit, but he's getting me more excited. So there you go.
I think just precision and consistency is with having a new kind of cool thing.
I got no ideas, but all right, I'm excited to see it. Looking forward to it. You said that you looked up to Eagle at Discmania specifically. As you were coming up through the game, of course, we all know that you're younger, and as you were growing up, you looked up to the stars of today who are still around. When did it feel like you made it on tour, and that you were no longer starstruck playing with Eagle McMahon or say Paul McBeth or Ricky Wysocki or whoever?
Maybe like mid 2022. 2021, I made lead card at Waco when I was 15, and that was pretty unreal. It felt like the whole world was watching me, even though there weren't that many people spectating that round. It kind of felt like it was just a huge moment in my life because it was my first time ever making lead card. And I had a couple good performances throughout the rest of the year, making some feature cards, which was kind of cool to always be on Jomez, because that just gets a lot of views and a lot of recognition. I think after the playoff in Vegas, I kind of realized like I'm here to stay, at least for a little bit, hopefully. And so, with my consistent 2022 season, I think it was like, okay, I proved to myself that I'm definitely one of the top guys, and then getting the USGGC win and then the 3 Elite Series last year, I think for sure solidified it.
So you even think it was maybe before 2023, but now it's no doubt.
Yeah.
Sure enough. I think you winning USDGC is no doubt, but certainly I think that's where you're going anyways. You've said multiple times now that your game just never felt good, or for the most part didn't feel good in 2023. So my question is, but I'm going to not let you answer it yet, is what do you think was your better season, 2022 or 2023? And before you answer it, I want to just say kind of your stats, because some did lead to 2022 more, but some led to 2023 more. So I want you to hear it and then give me your answer. In both years, just looking at major and elite events, you played 18 total events. In 2023, your average place was 7th compared to 13th just this past year. Your average round rating was 1044 in 2022 compared to 1039 in 2023. Your podiums were the same. You had 5 in both years. You had 9 top 5s in 2022 compared to just 5 in 2023. But when I'm looking at birdie rate, birdies are better per round. You had 0.4 better, almost a half a birdie more per round in 2023 compared to 2022. And then, of course, you won 3 events compared to just the one, although big, USDGC win in 2022. So which season do you think was better?
Okay. I'm gonna use a very good example here. So I'm gonna use the player of the year debate. I would rather have the season with the U.S. Championship, just because it's a major, and same reason that I basically voted for Calvin for player of the year is because, I mixed up on everything I just said. Scratch everything I just said.
All right, redo.
Well, I had it in my head, and then I think I said the thing I was going to say this for the second thing, and then I mixed it up. So hold up.
All right, what was your better year? 2023 or 2022? You had more wins in 2023.
Okay.
You had more birdies as well, but you had more consistent finishes, more top 5s, a better round rating. And I forget the other one I said. Average finish. And of course had the major, although it was your one major elite event in 2022.
I think if we're looking at that, I'd probably say 2022. It was also like 2022. I was kind of like the bogey free man. I just didn't bogey that much. And obviously my birdie rate was lower, but I averaged higher rated rounds. I played more consistent. So I think for me, 2022 is better just for a couple reasons. It just was less stressful. But then you also got to look at the getting 3 Elite Series wins is pretty big. It was the most Pro Tour wins of anybody, or just most wins in general of anybody last year. And so that's also huge. I think I want to get back to the 2022 type of play, just with more birdies or just higher potential, basically, to where I am just not bogeying and I play consistent every single weekend. Because I felt like in 2023, I could step up to a hole and there's a chance I'd bogey it. Where in 2022, I'd step up to a hole and in my head, the worst score I'm getting is a par. I don't know. I guess I was just playing more freely in 2022 and just not worrying about too much. I was kind of just, because I hadn't proved myself. There was nothing to prove, because there's no guarantee I'm just going to be a top player. There's no guarantee I'm going to win any event. And so, I was close. I know I could win an event, but every event was like, okay, let's just do your best. We'll see where you finish. And obviously, I think I did end up having the lowest average finish of anybody the entire 2022 season. Only got that one win. I did win Masters Cup, but that wasn't, it's a Silver Series. It was a good field at least. But yeah, there's definitely good aspects to both seasons. I think overall, if you just average a higher round rating, 5 points lower average round rating is pretty bad, I feel like. I need to look at the math on that, because my rating did go up 1 point throughout the...
This is just major and elite events too, so you certainly could have played better overall if you include silver events or A tiers. You won the Memorial, right? You won the Memorial last year?
I won the Memorial.
Yeah. So I'm sure your round rating was pretty good. You certainly could have had your player rating go up, but when I'm looking at just major and elite events, the average rating from those was lower in 2023. So
yeah, I don't think you're wrong. Yeah, being in contention at all majors is important. I think what I was getting at is it's weird. It'd be basically if I it'd be if I had won USDGC in 2023, you'd almost, I didn't have any wins in 2022 then, but in my opinion, I'd rather have Calvin was a player of the year, but I'd rather have Isaac's season for the titles. And so that I guess that's just my opinion on that kind of a topic.
Yeah. So you want major titles over consistency.
Yeah. I'd rather.
So
I'd
you,
rather.
you had consistency and the major title in 2022, although you had more elite wins in 2023.
Yeah.
you'd
So
rather-
it's kind of like a weird argument. I don't know.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, your seasons are just 2 seasons. It's not, a total hypothetical. They happened and they were seasons that happened. All right. Last question that I have is let's talk the GANNON BUHR World Rankings. These are releasing for the first time ever today. Who are your MPO top 3?
Let me get the phone out real quick.
Do you have this saved in notes or something?
No, I don't. I'm just looking at if there's any questions about world rankings, I just go to world rankings, look at the players, and see what it is.
So you're not
Okay.
even going to come up with your own. You're just going to do
No.
what's already done.
Number 1, I have Calvin for sure. Number 2, I think I'd go Calvin, Isaac, Eagle would be my top 3. Eagle's consistency was kind of underrated as to where he was pretty unreal with the amount of good finishes he had. Obviously didn't get any wins. He had those 2 silver series, but you want to be looking for those elite in the majors. Obviously with Isaac's 2 majors were huge, especially being worlds. And then Calvin's is kind of a no-brainer. This year was like very tough to determine like what year, because I think there's a lot of different lists. Overall, Calvin's going to be number 1 no matter what. Calvin and Isaac probably. But then, you can look at, I had the most wins. Kyle had a major and an elite series. Ricky had an elite series in the Pro Tour finals. Simon had a playoff and an elite series. And so the one I don't agree with is Paul Macbeth being number 3 right now in the UDisc ones. But I think other than that, I'd say the world rankings from that like 3 to 8 is like really tight. You can kind of switch whoever.
So where's GANNON BUHR in this? Are you number 4 or are you all the way down at 8 or somewhere in between?
That's tough. I think
Putting you on the spot here.
I think I'd put myself maybe above Ricky and Simon, just because I had that.
So
one
you'd
more
be
win
number
series.
4 with Ricky and Simon 5 and 6.
Yeah, and then I'd put. I mean, well, here's my top 5. It'd be Calvin, Isaac, Eagle, me, Kyle. That's my top 5.
Oh, okay, nice.
Because Kyle had
All
the
right.
U.S. Championship and an Elite Series, which is better than Ricky and Simon.
Yep. Yeah, I think they both had 2.
Kyle also got second
elite.
at being open.
Yeah, great point. He really snuck in there. Crazy event that was. Well, I appreciate the time, Gannon. Ben, it is all you.
GANNON BUHR.
What's up, man?
What up? How we doing? I've been
We're-
hiding in the
we're
shadows.
okay. We're okay.
Yeah. Don't worry. This grill session is almost over. First question I have for you. So, you and Alden both signed to Discmania. Was this a sort of package deal type of thing where it was in your clause that if you sign me, you must sign Alden, or you guys both left at the same time? So I didn't know, like, or was it any company you were going to, Alden was also going to?
That, yeah. Any company, I told any company I'm going to go to that you got to get Alden to.
All right.
He's my driver. Yep.
That's it. All right. Good. Sweet. That's perfect.
That's it, Ben?
No. What?
That's the podcast.
That's
there
it,
you
man.
go.
I have more questions. I
See
didn't
you
know.
next week.
I didn't know if he
Sound
was
like
gonna
you're wrapping it up.
divulge. So I do have more questions. So this might be something you don't know, but do you know if there's any plans in the future that Discmania is going to start making their players throw only the new Discmania mold rather than the Innova made? Is that too far down the line, or is that coming soon?
I don't know, because that's definitely a tough question, because let's just, for example, say they did require that in like 3 years, then it's like all those people that had old Discmania stuff, it's just like not valid at that point. It's kind of weird. I mean, in my eyes, yes, the goal is promote the new stuff, throw as much new stuff as you can, but it's all Discmania. it's all just like you don't gotta look too deep into it. If the disc is stamped Discmania on the top and is labeled everything's Discmania on the stamp, I mean it's a Discmania disc in my opinion. So it's actually kind of like an advantage in a way with. So the new molds are slightly different than the old molds, and it did open up a couple slots. Right now, I'm like for sure liking the new MD3s a lot more, and so and the method is a newer disc in the Evolution line, and so I think it just adds more options basically. I know I think Kyle is the only player that's ever gone full Discmania made bag when he won Waco. He won Waco with a full Discmania made bag. And so there's not too much to prove. Like the stuff is good. And it's consistent. And that's one thing that did bring me to Discmania is how consistent it was and all the stock stuff. But yeah, I'm not too sure about that.
Thanks, Gannon. Great answer. So kind of having to go on that. My questions are on a disc trajectory about Discmania. So kind of hopping on that last question, what is your favorite disc? I guess you kind of answered, but what is your favorite disc from their new line, and what is your favorite from their old line that you currently have been digging?
Ooh, that's a very tough question. I think, dang, that's a tough question. As of now, I like the older PD2s. They're a little bit more overstable. Now, the new ones, we just haven't had enough plastic variations. We've only had one plastic variation. And so I think when the C lines come out this year, that will probably make the bag because I think those will be for sure just like meat hooks and really overstable. The new ones are. But I'm looking for just a touch more overstable. So I think I like the old PD2s. And then in terms of the new stuff, it's tough. I'll name a couple. I mean, I like the Tactic is a really good disc. It's unique. You can throw it really hard, and it's slow, but not like crazy overstable. Obviously, the MD5 really overstable approach disc. The Method I think is my favorite mid range. I can just put so much. I think I'm going to make the Method popular. I've already got a couple people switching over to Methods because I like them so much. But I think it's the best mid I can put a ton of power on, and it just goes straight and finishes left. It doesn't really think about flipping ever, and so I can trust it in like wind and stuff like that. So that'll be fun to use. I can already like when I hold it, I just feel confident. Like I know how it's gonna fly. And I think like, I mean, in terms of like all around, like Essence, CD1, and FD are like incredible people just for just all skill levels. They're all just like really consistent. They're just really straight flyers, especially if you have like a lower arm speed. And then for pros, we can put some power behind them, and they still hold up pretty decent. But yeah, that's what I'm liking so far.
Good answers. Appreciate that. Kind of in the same category. What is the most sought after Discmania disc you have right now? I know you were trading and all like that, and there's a huge hype around Discmania collector group. So
yeah.
Let us know.
It's kind of a blessing and a curse because, like, if you know me, like, I like to. Well, I collect to throw, so there's very few discs I've ever had that I've owned that I don't plan to throw. Pretty much everything I buy to throw, but you know it's fun to bag cool discs. I'd say anything I have that is anything of Eagles that was old that maybe he used in his bag, or maybe it's only. So I have these PD2s that are stamped Cloudbreaker with. So it's the Cloudbreaker stamp, but they had to modify the stamp because something was wrong with the stamp in the design, and so I think there was only 6 PD2s ever stamped with that, and I have 2 of them.
Wow.
So those are like I've already had people messaging me, and I'm like, nope, there's no chance you're getting these off of me. And then I have an MD3 from his original in the bag with Spin TV in 2015, and now I think it's in my bag for my flippy mid-range slot.
Awesome.
I mean, so the MD3 has a micro bead on it, and this one has no bead anymore because it's so beat up.
Sweet. So kind of going off of that collector's page, you joined a Discmania collector's page maybe a little too early in the off season. Was that
You're one of them.
Was that an oversight, Gannon, or was that because you ended up joining like MVP and all that like 2 months later maybe? But was that an oversight, or was that kind of like just you just want to see what the plastic had?
Here, the oversight is people like you who don't know the facts.
What's the facts? I'm asking you, Gannon. Tell me the facts.
I joined that collector page like 5 years ago probably.
Okay.
So I don't know where that rumor came from. Oh, Gannon just joined the Discmania. No, I've been in that exact group for like 5 years.
Okay.
I had some player pack discs that I sold over there when I was like 12. Now Alden did join, but he only joined. He called me because he was like, "Oh my gosh, there's rumors," because I joined the collector group. This is before any of us knew where we were going. This is like mid-season. Because apparently there was rumors that I was bidding on Discmania stuff, which that also wasn't true. And so I don't even know how these rumors come about because none of it actually happened. I guess someone just made it up.
I guess so.
And so that was like, I guess the only bad part is because I was like, oh, well, we're in the groups. People, I guess, knew it already. But in reality, there was no telling where we were going to end up for next year. So, but yeah, obviously did end up being Discmania, and it's fun to be a part of because there's a lot of fun and cool stuff that has a lot of history, and just getting some of those I guess like sought after discs are fun.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you clarifying that because that's what I heard from a million people. That's
and see, that's what happens is it spreads like a wildfire.
Yeah,
there was something about me bidding on Innova. The only true one is the MVP one. But that's because it just happened.
Yeah. But that was at that point you knew where you were going. You were just trying to, which is part of my. Actually, I have this written down. So you're, in my opinion, known as right now the biggest troll in disc golf. You weren't letting people know. Come on, do your troll face. You know you can do it. Or whatever you do. Yeah, there you go. Evan's cracking up.
Everyone loves that face for some reason. It's basically the Squidward if you watch SpongeBob, like whenever he's handsome.
Yeah, exactly. So, I guess I don't really know. My question is just like, how was that? Was that fun for you? Like, what was the planning behind all the? I know you posted on your story of your dog and then an Innova disc. Was there plans behind that, or were you just having fun to throw people off?
Yeah, everything I did was planned out very specifically.
Really?
From the script I made to all the stories. The dog story was set up. I called my dog over, got one of her toys that was in the yard, propped it underneath the disc so you could see the stamp, and like purposely put it in like the bottom corner so like I accidentally showed it. I don't know how anyone fell for the MVP one. But yeah, it was all planned out. The script I wrote myself in like 3 minutes, maybe. That was pretty easy. And yeah, so it was fun because it was the only trolling I'd be able to do company-wise for 3 years. So might as well try it.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about branding earlier. I think, that was a cool part to see of your brand, just how you can have some fun, let loose, and who you are as a person. I have one last question. And it's some more speculation. So you don't have to answer this, but Niklas Antila, he announced he was leaving Discmania. And
he did not announce he was leaving Discmania.
He said
he never said I'm leaving.
Are you sure?
If you go back and leave that post if you read that post as, hey, I just appreciate you guys.
It says this. Let me read it. Yep. Thank you, Discmania, for season 2018 through 2023. When I started playing in 2015, he goes on to talk about all his dreams. I'm so grateful to Discmania for their willingness to help go after my dreams. However, after 3 Finnish championship titles and European championship title and numerous memories, it's time to turn a new page in my career. Announcement about my future coming in a few weeks. Yeah. So you're right. He did not say goodbye. But
read
that's
it, if
the
you read
essence
it,
of his.
yeah, it was a very, very good wrote out post.
Well,
'Cause-
that's my question. That's where I'm going with this. Was this the whole intention that he was going to resign, or was there something in the
Yes.
back? So that's all I was asking. Was there
Yep.
he actually about to leave?
No, yeah. Well, it was funny because the post got me because, well, it was weird because I mean I'd been told like they re-signed Nick Lawson. It was like I was like, oh, cool, it's sick. It's glad we locked him up for a couple more years. And then the post came out. I was like, what? Did something weird happen? Like something crazy happened? And I had to just make sure that nothing crazy happened, and it was just all part of this marketing part of it. And you know, it was such a good post because you know he put that like timeline of like what 2018 through 2023, and so it kind of gave that timeline and then the new chapter. But that's just him joining the higher level team because he earned it, I guess. And so kind of like that, yeah. And then I went back and read it from that perspective, and that's kind of what I've been telling people. I'm like, just go back and read it from the perspective of someone's just genuinely thankful for what they've given him so far.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Well, that's my grill sesh, and yeah. Anyone else? I guess what we got going on? Oh, Matt. All right.
He's gone.
Oh no. Put back in, Evan.
We dissolved him. Well,
We
Gannon, I would say
can put Alden. We'll put Alden in his spot.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Is Alden with you? No, not now.
No.
No. Okay.
Yes, guys, hold on 1 second. I'm getting room service.
Whoa,
Fancy.
dude.
I do have
That
I
is
have
big
one
time.
last follow up for Gannon, real quick. But let me just sign real quick.
Oh man,
He's-
all the things.
This
we
man's
do.
rich.
He just signed a 3-year deal with the Marriott. Yeah, he's free towels for life.
So I can't
Not
pull.
a bad deal.
Sorry, I can't pull up Evan because he's in Gannon's spot, and that's how Matt has it set up. So
Sorry,
just
Evan.
how it is.
Matt does have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Gannon, did we miss anything that like we just you've been dying to talk about for all the interviews that you've been doing?
Not really. I guess there's like 2 things I have going on in my life right now that I haven't really said yet. One is I have to get my wisdom teeth out, ideally before tour, and so that's going to be just annoying, obviously. Well, throughout I had 4 cavities, which I still don't believe because I mean, I don't know. I've never had pain with any cavities ever before. And I had no pain before. About 8 months ago, I got these cavities drilled and filled. And ever since then, I've had just like pretty severe pain when eating certain foods. And so I only chewed on my right side. And so even till this day, the muscle on my right side's like stronger. And so my jaw pops out of place on my left side whenever I chew.
Me too.
And like in the mornings too. And so, oh, it does.
Yeah, I have the
What?
same thing.
But like I didn't have that before, so like it just developed. And then I'm in this chair, and then because I went back in, I was like, hey, these are still bothering me. Like you must have done something wrong. And I don't know, found out like a piece was loose or pressing up against a nerve, something weird happened. And she was like, oh, do you want to get them like fixed eventually? I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. And then here comes this numbing gel right into my mouth. I'm like, whoa, we're doing it right now. And so I got my teeth fixed then. And the other thing, very exclusive, and I'll say it now because I'm good now. I'm good now. But I rolled my ankle really, really bad when I was in Florida at the start of like the very beginning of the year. So it's been like 2-3 weeks now, and I rolled it really bad. I couldn't.
So you'll say it now because you said you're good, but 3 weeks ago, how scared were you?
I was scared. Ankle rolls tend to do that. Like they're really, really bad for the first week, but then they get better quickly. Even like a week and a half in, I was a little bit scared. I got x-rays and stuff, and there was nothing, no breaks. And so what happened is I stretched the muscle on the outside of my calf. It was my right foot. And I think they said it was a grade 2 tear stretch of a muscle. And so I got a lot of bruising on my leg. And then I also had just like some very slight damage to some of the ligaments in my ankle, but nothing fully injured. And so I'm back to throwing now, so I'm fine. There should be zero problems, but I was hiding it for a little bit because I was like, well, hopefully it wasn't something big. That'd be bad. But luckily, I tend to get hurt in the off season, so we're good.
Did you text Discmania, or you're like, no, I'm going to wait until I know what's going on?
No, this is the first time. This is the first time anybody found out, unless they're my friends.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Exclusive.
No more
But
basketball.
because I had a couple of people. I was in Florida, and they're like, "Hey, man, want to get around it?" I'm like, "My ankle fell off."
Not today.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm happy. It's good now. Feeling strong. I've been working out a little bit, so just getting back to the routine. I'll be home for a little bit longer, and I guess it was a good injury. So I'll be honest. I was playing basketball, which I will now never ever 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 play again in a game situation, as long as I'm playing disc golf at least. I think it was like the right amount of injury to teach me, like, hey, do not do that. You have much more important things to do. After it happened, I felt really stupid, and I'm lucky it wasn't anything worse. But I think it's in the long run going to be fine, because it tells me, just like another reminder, be very careful, because my body is my tool, and so I have to be very cautious of that. So I'll be careful moving forward, and it's gonna force me to get stronger, and so I think that'll just improve my play even.
There you go. Matt, you said you had a follow-up question?
Yeah, I think I don't. I mean, you guys have broken down a lot tonight. We've had a lot to talk about with Gannon. I think.
When is the beard being shaved?
Honestly, well, when's okay? So you're not the first to ask that,
because you look
people
like you're.
tag me in video.
I don't even know.
Go ahead.
Well, you just look like a Yeti. You're just like warm.
It's warm. It is warm, but it also gathers ice. It also gathers ice.
If I win Worlds, I'll shave my beard.
Okay.
And Matt will shave.
I will say
I'll
this.
shave mine too.
I've been anticipating a moment where this happens, and it's not yet, but I think I will do it for a good cause. Like, if there's a way to make money off of it and give it to charity or something.
Okay, I was like, that's not a good cause.
Oh yeah, make money. If I can make money. No, for a charity. Like, I won't just do it randomly. I mean, I'd like to make some money for charity or something if people want to see my naked face. So, but they probably don't. Okay. So, yeah, we'll see you around, Gannon. You've been doing the podcast deal lately, and I think we'll probably have you on again when you announce your big next thing, or you win your next big thing. So that'll be cool. But, yeah, enjoy the cold. I just came down to Houston, and it's going to be like 70 degrees tomorrow. It's nice down here, I guess. So.
Hey, shout out to my friend John Luce the third. He's your most recent subscriber.
My man.
That's actually
Look at John Luce the third.
He lives in Des Moines, and I've been playing against him since I was like 11 and intermediate and stuff like that. And he's been a lifetime disc maniac. And so he came over and showed me a couple discs, and I got a couple things to try out that I think are already going to be making the bag.
Heck yeah.
John
That's
Luce.
awesome. Shout out to John Luce the third.
It's not every time someone gets a shout out from Gannon Burr of the latest subscriber. We appreciate that, Gannon.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, anybody no closing thoughts, right? We're there.
Nope.
We'll talk to you next time, Gannon.
Goodbye.
Peace.
Out. Goodbye.
We lost Matt.
No.
At the same time.
That's all right.
Wait, I'm doing it. Trust me. There we go. I had to get Gannon out.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, there's all different ways to do that. We'll figure it out as we go. Yeah. But here's what I wanted to say, but we had already talked to him about a lot, and then I'm going to lead us into like a closing out couple thoughts. One is he has something, and you brought this up, Ben, something in common with Nicholas, right? He announced the departure from a manufacturer saying, and I put in quotes, buy, because he actually didn't, as Gannon pointed out. But they both did it publicly and then continued with the same manufacturer. So I think that was something interesting, and now they're both on the same team. And I want to add to that. There is what Gannon just said, and there are people that are losing their minds over how they think it's bad marketing, the way to say you're leaving without saying you're leaving, and then to resign and say, cool, we promoted him. And I will simply go out and say that a friend of the show contacted me a few months ago. Maybe that's a little too far back, so a month or two ago, and ultimately said that he was going to a different manufacturer, Antilla. and I have it on good like feeling from this source that it was very accurate. So to say, I'm not saying Gannon knows something different and says something different. I don't believe that. I just think there are two sides to this story here. And I honestly believe that in the last minute of another deal, Discmania upped their bid. That's my take on it. I don't think it's as cut and dry. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah,
Any thoughts on that? Does that make more sense to anybody?
Yes.
It's definitely something like that, whether it was intentional, whether people knew. I mean, he posted that on December 30th. That's likely the date his contract expired. And so there's a formality of, I'm not under contract with Discmania anymore. Mm-hmm. That's the situation right now. Again, I'm not actually elaborating on whether it was intentional or he got excited and posted it too early, or was it try to gain leverage with Discmania? There's a bunch of different ways that could be played out, or it could be a marketing stunt. I do not think it's a marketing stunt, just from my opinion. I think there's more going on. But again, like if you're in a contract and maybe you're frustrated with the way negotiations are going, you have a new sponsor, you would rather stay with Discmania if they'd pay you, and your contract date is up, you might choose to say, thank you, Discmania, my contract is up. Right. Which is what he said.
I don't.
It just makes a lot of sense. I know people heard it as an announcement of leaving and then resigning, and it sounds like a marketing thing. But if you look at it from, let's say, the back door perspective, like actually seeing how things might actually go down, to your point, contracts up, he might have used this as a strategy to get the re-up, but in so doing, he actually had negotiations. I'm not saying with who, but he actually had negotiations to the point of what I was under the impression that would actually be a signing with somebody different. That is what I know. And I'm not going to elaborate on that. So, because it's not a massive deal. I think it's all part of the strategy of getting yourself marketed.
That's the only way to actually get leverage, is to negotiate a realistic deal with someone else. If it's a fake deal, then it's not leverage. So of course he was having a conversation with someone else.
Yeah.
But then Discmania gets a chance to swoop in and pay, and they did.
I agree 100%.
And then
I think a lot of it, rallied on Eagle as well. I mean, Eagle leaving Discmania opens up X amount of cap space, whether it's $200,000 a year, $400,000 a year, $500,000 a year, whatever the amount of money was. With Eagle leaving when he did, that opened up some cap space now for Discmania to, either sign Gannon BUHR and pull back Nicolas Santola whilst also signing Alden Harris. But I definitely think there were some very real talks. I know a large majority of us, in my friend group that I have, the players on the Pro Tour or just friends and fans of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, definitely had some pretty good thoughts that he was going elsewhere until, a couple hours before the show.
So congrats to him. There's obviously speculation around that deal that Antilla has. Also, Gannon just texted me and said, tell them I forgot to mention Squatch is one of his sponsors. I'm very excited for my bag to be out soon. So he's on the Squatch train, and those bags do look very incredible, and he's happy about it. One other thing here, Evan, when you asked the question about performance or whatever, I forget how it went when you were talking to Gannon. Performances, years, which would you rather? He stumbled himself, but what he actually stumbled himself. But what he was implying was it's hard because that is a better season, 2022, but I'd rather 2023, and that's what we got to eventually. But he confused himself. But I looked this up because someone mentioned this to me. I think it was on Sunday. Mike Tomlin, Steelers coach, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers. He has never had a losing season. I think it was over 15 years with the Steelers, right? And you can say he's the only coach to ever have not had a losing season after that long. Only one. Bill Belichick, all these players, right? Or all these coaches. But then you look at their career wins or moving in the playoffs. They've went into like lots of wild card games and lost. And I think they've only won one or two playoffs since Tomlin has been there, is my point. They obviously have a lot of you look at
won one Super Bowl and probably a handful of games. They probably win one, maybe two a year. They would go to the AFC Championship game plenty of times and then lose to the Patriots or get upset. So you're onto it, Bat. I'm just adding additional content.
That's what I'm kind of saying is I'm feeling this out of it's one of those things where you could be like this, I've never had a losing season. Is that what you want? As a coach, that's awesome achievement. Or do you want to be like, I had 12 losing seasons, but I won 8 of them. Like that would be like, and it just shows you how you have to play to do that too. I just think that was interesting.
It always begs the question for any, I think, Pro Tour player, and we've talked to a lot of them about this, is what would you rather, 4 Elite Series wins or 1 major being the World Championship? And I think large majority of them would all say the World Championship is what really matters.
Yep.
I mean, every single sport out there has the playoffs, and then it has their specific championship to that sport. It doesn't matter. I mean, the Patriots went, 16-0 in the regular season in the playoffs, and then they lost in the Super Bowl. And that's what people talk about, is that they lost in the Super Bowl. When it really mattered, they freaking lost, and we're still bitter to this day about it. But yeah,
we just lost Bill Belichick. Like we're in a down spot, and you have to bring that up.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Let's do this.
Yeah. That's all right.
Let's take it to this last segment. And I know, Evan, you were busy, but we're already here. Let's just see.
We're already
if
here.
you want to answer, you can, or you can bow out. Do you want to do the game or no?
I actually know what the game's going to be, and I think it would be best for y'all to have some fun.
Yeah,
with that,
it was. You were trying to bow out a while ago, and Ben brought you back in, so we're gonna let you go. We'll talk to you later.
All right, see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week. Evan.
Bye.
Peace. Okay.
I knew he was gonna click the wrong one.
I stayed smiling because I knew I'd stick out.
Like I have to go. It's this new thing. You guys wouldn't understand that I have to do now.
No, just go 4 up, man.
I did, but then Evan was up. I had to replace you. There you go.
I'm not going to get upset at you. It's hard to do when you're there alone. I get it. I've done it a million times. Just set the 4 up before you go there. There we go. Okay. So let's play this quick game. It is simple. Josh is new to this, but we've done this every year for the last 3 years, which is, are they going to get a podium and are they going to get a win? So you have to say yes, podium, yes, win, or no podium, obviously no win. So if you say yes, podium, then you need to also add to that and say if you think it'll be a win anytime during the season. I'm going to give you the player name and we'll just go around. No real elaboration unless you have to. But I'm going to put you on the spot. This one's the easiest one so far. Nick, Kristen, Tatar.
100 wins and 100 podiums. No.
Okay,
but,
so yes. Anybody disagree?
Yes and yes.
Anybody disagree? Yes. Okay, that was an easy one. All right, here we go. Maybe harder, Nick. I don't know. Paige Pierce, podium or win?
I think she gets a win.
Okay.
So yeah.
So
yes and yes.
Both. Yep. I say yes to both as well, Ben.
Yes to both.
Josh.
Oh,
Josh, you're muted.
I can't hear Josh.
yeah,
I think
Josh,
you
you
muted
muted
himself.
yourself.
Well, it's hard to hear when the mute button's pushed. Classic,
Your mouth is moving.
Zoom faux pas. Yeah, I was just hesitant on the win, to be honest. No question, podium.
Yeah, I was a little bit. So you said podium, but you're not saying win, or you are?
No, I'm saying a win. But I mean, last
Okay.
year, 25% podium, 25% wins. So I mean, still got a good shot at it.
Yeah, and with her ankle rehabilitation, it's just going to be interesting. All right, Nick, here we go. Katrina Allen.
Yes.
I am a yes to podium, no win. Ben.
I think I'm a yes. I think she's gonna have a comeback year.
Josh.
Man, I just so frustrated because I think she has such a strong history and I'm gonna say no win, but I hope she gets on the podium.
Yeah, so we're feeling similarly there. I would like to, if you were to add on to it, say I'm seeing all the work she's putting in. I think she's an amazing competitor. I could go on, but I'm just rolling the dice here saying I don't think she's going to get the win.
Yeah, I mean,
the field's so tough now.
I know we're not elaborating, but just go look. The first half of the year, fine, but after that, she didn't place better than 20th place. That's not
Let's
good.
see. She's putting in a lot of work. Let's move over to Evelina. Nick.
Yes, podium, no wins.
Okay, I have yes, podium, no win. Ben.
I think she fixed her putting this offseason. Yes.
You're saying if she did or she did?
She
fix
did.
it?
I think she did.
We'll see.
Josh.
Yeah, no wins last year, so I say no wins, but she'll get on the podium.
Don't we all want to say she'd win? She has everything. She just needs to put it together. Okay, let's go to Henna. Henna, what was that?
No, you said she has everything, but she does not have the putting. And that's the.
I feel like she does. She
it's
just
the sole
doesn't put it
reason she
together.
doesn't win. Yeah.
No, because I've watched her on the practice green. She hits them fine. Her putting is not her issue. I think it was mental.
The best practice putter in the world is Nico LaCastro. You can give that dude any disc in the world and he'll hit 10 out of 10 from 50 feet. But the second that the tournament comes into play, that also has to do with, I understand it. It's a huge mental confidence in it. But also Evelina's putting stroke, or her previous one, I haven't seen that she's fixed it, but her putting stroke is not a good putting stroke. But to Henna,
My only point was I feel like just like you said, Nico has it. If he doesn't put it together, he doesn't win. And that's all I was saying about Evelina.
Yep, I gotcha.
Henna.
Yes, podium, no win. But I lean more towards her. Like, if I'm to elaborate a little bit, I think she gets a win before Evelina does.
Hard part here is, are we speculating on if we think like it will happen, like we're actually placing bets right now, or are we saying it could happen? Because the hard part is if we're actually placing bets.
Yeah.
If we're actually placing bets, I feel like it's a no for Henna, but I don't know. Ben.
Yeah. Sorry. Only 2 podiums last year. Like, if you're playing the numbers, that is a long shot.
Yeah.
Henna, she's great form. She's sick. I believe in her. Yes.
It's about believing, or how much money would you bet on that?
I'd bet $20.
Is that how high would you bet for anything?
$20. I'm not a gambler. I'm not a gambler at all.
Okay. I guess my point is, Ben, and it's fair that you always give that take, but you're like, I wish her the best. And I'm like, then I wish everybody the best, podiums and wins.
That's the thing. I believe
like,
in the
would you
players.
actually do a $20 bet with me right now?
For Henna to win?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. It's recorded, timestamp. This one, people will actually have to come back and remind us of this when it happens. And they will love to remind me when Henna wins. And here's the thing. I actually wish the best for her. Like, I do hope she wins, but the bet, I think, is smarter on my side. Anyways, here we go. Holland Handley, Nick.
She's going to win something.
I think Holland Handley's going to have an absolute breakout season. So, yes and yes.
I have a yes podium, no win. Ben.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, she proves she can win in a stressful environment. Yes.
Okay, riddle me this really quick. Sorry to cut you off, Josh. Throw Pink is not an Elite Series event, hasn't been in the past. Obviously, that was Holland's big win last year. Does that count as an event that we're saying, yes, that counts towards it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Any event, right?
Even still,
like,
well, I mean...
No. I should have been very clear like Evan would have been.
We're all Elite Series and Majors now.
Yeah, we're talking Elite and Major. Not.
Like
I'm not even talking silvers.
Yeah, silvers.
I'm not even talking silvers.
Exactly. Yeah. Elite Series and above, but I just wanted to make sure, because Throw Pink is such
I would count that.
Okay, all right, cool. Yes.
Yeah, I'm way more confident in her than some of the other FPO players we mentioned. So, yes.
Okay. Ella Hansen, Nick.
Well, that's a tougher one. I'm going to say no.
I got a podium, no win. Ben.
I picked Ella probably one of the most last year to win, so I'm going to do that again. Yes. She's going to do it.
Josh.
I'm going to say no, unfortunately.
Okay, and last one for FPO here. Valerie Mandujano, Nick.
She always squeaks that one win, so I want to say yes. She always squeaks that one win in there somewhere. Yeah.
I've got a yes podium, no win, which begs the question, who's going to win all these events? It's going to be other people. Like, Cat merch, I don't know. But anyway, what do you got?
I don't know. This one's probably the toughest out of all of them, but I'm going to go yes. She's going to squeak one out, like Nick said. She always does.
All right, Josh.
Yeah, yes. I'm going to say yes, and with a stretch on the win. No question podium. Last year was a weird year.
I
it's
liked your
hard to
answer,
gauge
Nick.
It, but
I liked your answer. I was like, well, who's going to win? You're like, Kristen Tatar. I'm like,
pretty much.
I guess that's where I'm banking it all, because last year I was like, somebody else, and she just kept winning. So now I say no to everybody. Yeah. Okay, last run here on the MPO as we get ready to close this out. Calvin Heimberg, Nick.
That's easy. I'm not like Matt Graham. Yes.
Okay. I got a yes on that, Ben.
Yes. Pretty clearly.
Same. No question.
Yeah, it'd be hard to bet against that. Paul Macbeth, Nick.
Yes.
I have a yes as well. It's fun. We can't elaborate now, but go ahead, Ben.
Yes. The GOAT.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes for the same reasons. That win is becoming harder and harder for him, though.
It is.
The shoulder rehab and this new kid, all this stuff we saw do wonders for Simon. The arm rehab with the kid did
is
a lot
going to
for
make him
Simon.
win. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Let's see. Isaac Robbins and Nick.
Yes.
I have a yes podium, no win. Ben.
That's wild talking about the world champion like that.
Yeah, that is wild.
My
I'm
God,
saying
put some
Greg
respect on
Barsby
his
won
name.
a world champion. Greg Barsby won a world
different.
Comparing
champion.
them?
Yeah.
Comparing
We're also in
them?
a
I
new
don't
time of disc.
James Conrad won a world
Ooh,
championship.
now
What
that's
did
a
he
good-
win?
but also won
comparison.
multiple Elite Series events. You know, James Conrad's no slouch.
I'm
but
going yes, just purely based on he's the most buttery disc golfer in the woods.
I'm probably making a mistake like Josh did on League Night 2 years ago, and he's
Oh,
like, "We
come
won't
on.
even remember Isaac."
I'm going to redeem it right now.
Oh,
So
You will,
far-
but I just
Just to be clear, Isaac Robinson is undefeated in 2024. He hasn't lost a tournament yet. So,
That's a good
There
point.
you go. See,
That's a good point.
so that's already a yes.
well,
Nope,
it's
we're
not-
talking
it's
about
not the kind of
Olympic
events we
tournaments.
talked about, but
Yeah.
still.
Okay.
okay. That's fun. That's okay. We need to fire up people anyways with my takes. Gannon BUHR, Nick.
See, this is where it gets tough because so many of these players all won Elite Series events last year. And so you'd like to say yes to all of these, but same thing, like, okay, who's going to lose an event? But to Gannon BUHR,
Yeah.
yes podium, yes with a win.
Okay, I have a yes and a yes as well. Ben.
Yes. He's too nice.
Yes.
Okay, 3 more here. Niklas Antilla, Nick.
Yes podium, no win.
I have the same. Could I go so far as to say no podium? I don't know. Is anybody
could.
here bold enough? Ben.
No, I'm saying yes because some of these
Whoa.
European events are included.
Agreed.
point.
Oh, good take. Good
I'm
take,
going
and he's
going
over
yes,
there.
just because I'm a huge fan and I think he has what it takes. What?
I don't know why it cracks me up. It just cracks me up. He's like, I do it because I'm a good fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the
It's fair.
sport and I believe
It's
in him.
fair.
Big belief.
It's fair.
Niklas.
Okay, here we go. 2 more. Eagle McMahon, Nick.
Yes podium, no win.
Oh, there's your no win. I
My
have
no
yes
win.
and yes, which would be awesome. Ben.
Yes, and I would guarantee he wins this season.
You want to
Wanna put
place
20
a bet?
bucks on it?
Deal, $20. All right, I'm 40 in the hole. I'm not a gambler. Oh my goodness, what do you guys made me?
I'm keeping notes on all this too. But
Okay,
I say
so
yes.
Yeah.
Eagle and Henna. I guarantee Eagle's gonna win this year.
We just start betting. Like, that's our show now. We got 5
Who was
guys
that
going
bet
back
with?
and
Was that
forth.
bet with Nick?
Yeah.
The first bet
That was
Hannah,
Nick shaking
Matt.
hands with Ben.
Yeah,
Well,
and
barring
then the
he's
Eagle one is
fine with his
myself.
shoulders and actually gets to play, but
Yep. Now.
No, we already shook, baby. 2024
but
season.
already-
That man
it's
has to
already
get a
in the
win for you
notes.
to make 20 bucks.
okay, deal. I believe.
Ben's gonna be rolling in the money with this expos he runs, so he'll be fine. Okay,
I
do you
wish.
think,
last
Josh?
one.
I wish.
Oh yeah, did you give us Eagle?
Yeah, I said yes.
Okay, easy, huh? And then Simon Lizotte, Nick.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, the first yes is so easy.
Yeah.
Yes, he's gonna get one of them. There's courses out there meant for him. Ben.
So he's having a kid in like May, and we know what happened last time he had a kid. So 4 wins. Yes, all the way.
Yeah. I thought you were just saying he's going to get
I'll
4
put 100
wins
bucks
this
on
year.
4
Yeah.
wins.
Yeah, no, I'm not that though.
No, all right. I don't. I would be 50-50 on a win,
Yes.
and so I'm going to say no wins, but yes, podium. It's just hard to win. It's hard to win on the tour.
It is.
And that's what I was gonna say. If everyone went wins on all these players, I was gonna be like, guys, that is the biggest
Yeah.
bet of your life. Like, somebody's losing. So okay. In wrapping this up,
I think
you
I went
guys
yes
might have
on all
talked about it
wins.
when I wasn't here. But Lisa Fakis open bag with OTB East. DGA adds to their team, Parker Welk. Eliezer Midling, which I saw her in person at USDGC. Fantastic opportunity. Sky's the limit. Evan, Scott, Sullivan, Tipton, and Macy, all the DGA on that one. And then Doug Bjerkes gets Brixton's 1 of 1 thanks to a listener. Did you guys bring that up?
We did.
We did. Yeah, we casually brought that up. Yeah. Shout out
And
to all
then
the
finally,
listeners.
in closing out the show, Disc Golf 978 update. Shout out to them again. I heard you talk about it, Nick. We love 978. Use that code. And then the update is that last show they raised $477 for charity of Eagles Choice, which was Uplay, and that's still on the way up because I said a week of their Lost and Found getting sold in store. It's actually a month of that, so it's going to keep building.
Wow,
Plus, they sold out all of those. They sold out all of those discs last week for Eagle, like right away during our show. Boom!
Yeah.
So really cool. We'll let you know the final number when the donation happens. But Disc Golf 978, I just want to say it sincerely. This is the kind of group they are. They're business, but they're involved so much in giving back to the sport and doing it in a cool way like that. So
they're also all about being healthy. So go check out their NutriShop page as well. It's a part of Disc Golf 978. I think it's just called NutriShop. Go check it out if you're looking, and I'm sure they could also help you out if you're looking to be a healthier person, maybe start working out and stuff like that. So go check them out as well. But yeah, we love 978.
All right. And then we are going to do a live show on Sunday at the Northeast Disc Golf Expo in a room that is designed for people to sit back and relax. And my goal is to line up as many of these guest appearances that are at the expo for the Sunday if they're there. We already know Paul Macbeth's going to be there. Simon's going to be there. I don't know if it's public or not, but I saw somebody from Innova because I'm in one of these Innova groups. So all I can say is there's going to be people at the expo. We're going to try to line them up for our live show. If you want to see what a live show's like, show up to the live show experience and be a part of it. Go ahead, Nick, close it out, and we'll say goodbye till next week and see everybody at the expo.
Everybody, This was episode. Do we have the piano music still?
Oh, yeah.
It is there if he wants to play it.
Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to Staggered Stance, episode 174, presented by Disc Golf 978. Go check them out online. We love them. They love us. We appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to all the new subscribers over the last few weeks. This has been an awesome new opportunity in the 2024 season. Check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. Shout out to all the chat tonight. You guys were popping. Very exciting things happening in the 2024 season. Tell someone you love them this week. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, and I just want to give this last shout out. My buddy, my double partner in Team Challenge, broke his ankle today.
No.
And I just want to give him all the love in the world. Dude, it's a rehab process. Look at Paige Pierce. It took a little while. She's going to be back at the top. You can do it, dude. I feel so horrible to hear that just now, but you got this, man. All right. Until next week, everybody. Nick, you're awesome. Ben, you're awesome. Josh, you're awesome. Evan, you're awesome. Peace out, everybody. See you around.